Shalom, shalom again, brethren. I'm sharing another lesson study with you. This lesson study is the third installment of Christianity masquerades as good, but its foundations are evil. I began the lesson study with Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. It reads, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." Briefly, when we read Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 to verses 4, which reads, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahuwah Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die." Here comes the deception in Genesis chapter 3, verse 4. "And the serpent said unto the woman, Yea, ye shall not surely die." Verse 5 reads, "For Elohim doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil." So as I have read in Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, showing that the deception originated from the adversary, it is quite clear that this deception started first with the adversary, Satan, or the devil, first deceiving Adam and Eve in the garden. The book of Revelation is perhaps 2,000 to 4,000 years after Adam and Eve were created. And yet we see that Satan continues up until that time and now here in 2020 to deceive many. The Roman Catholic Church has desired that all the world believe that Romanish new Christian religion called Christianity represented the original followers of the Mashiach after the crucifixion. Yet these two are several hundred years apart and never synonymous. All were ultimately fused into Romanism's Christianity or be hunted down as heretics. All were required to adopt a set of customs, beliefs, and rules that are completely absent from and opposed to Scripture. Special creeds were drafted, in which all within the Roman Empire had to sign on the dotted line, so to speak, or swear an oath to give up their Tanakh from the ancient scroll, such as the Creed, as the Constantinople Church, and legislation of the Council of Laodicea, AD 365. This is found in one of the Roman canons. It reads, "Christians must not Judaize by resting on the Sabbath, but must work on that day, rather honoring the Lord's Day, Sunday. But if any shall be found to be Judaizers, let them be anathema from Christ. This is taken from the Council of Laodicea, Canon 29. It is said that the early Roman Church Father, Jerome, was the first to translate the Greek Septuagint, that is the 70, into Latin. When we read the following statements written by Jerome, it proves that Jerome knew that there were apparent differences between the Christians, or Christianity, and the Natsarim, the true followers of Yahushua HaMashiach. The Natsarim continued to keep the entire Torah, and they believed in the sacrificial death of their Mashiach. But amazingly, Jerome called them heretics for keeping Torah in its entirety. These now are Jerome's statements. In the following statements, Jerome says, "We shall now especially consider heretics who call themselves natsarims, that is to say, followers of Yahushua. They are mainly Yahudim, or in the modern term Jews, and nothing else. They make use not only of the New Testament, but they also use in a way the Old Testament of the Yahudim. For they do not forbid the books of the law, the prophets, and the writings, so that they were approved by the Yahudim, from whom the Natsarim do not differ in anything. And they profess all the dogmas pertaining to the prescriptions of the law and the customs of the Yahudim, except that they believe in Mashiach. They preach that there is but one Elohim, Yahuwah, and his son, Yahushua. But they are very learned in the Hebrew language. For they, like the Yahudim, read the whole law, then the prophets. They differ from the Yahudim because they believe in Mashiach, and from the Christians in that they are to this day bound to the Yahudim rites, such as circumcision, the Shabbat, and the other ceremonies. This is taken from Jerome Epiphanius, Panarion 29. It is translated from the Greek. This early Roman Christian church father, Jerome, said that the true followers of Yahushua HaMashiach were despised heretics because they refused to fall in line with the new Roman Christian religion. Number one, they, the Natsarim, continued to follow both the Old Testament Torah law and the New Testament. Number two, the Natsarim fully embraced and do not forbid or shun the books of the law, the prophets, or the writings. This forbidding of the Old and the Torah law was accomplished by the Roman emperors in the 4th century AD, and not the Mashiach on the stake, or what is commonly called the cross, as many pastors teach. And point number 3, the entire calendar as laid out in Scripture is not the same one Jerome and all the Roman Christians utilize to this very day. Neither is it the same one as the modern Khazarian Ashkenazi rabbinical Pharisee Jews. The Khazarian Ashkenazi rabbinical Pharisee Jews keep the Roman Julian Gregorian calendar. these rabbinical Pharisaic Jews, these Khazarian Ashkenazis, who are converts from the steppes of Russia, the Caucasus Mountains, they themselves have scholars that attest to the fact that the seventh day Shabbat that they keep Friday sundown to Saturday sundown is not the scriptural Shabbat. The Christian church has been deceiving many for millennia. The Christian church continues to this very day in 2020 to deceive many. Many who subscribe to Christianity think that it is the path of righteousness. But when compared to the path that the natsarim, the followers of Yahushua, kept, we see that the deviation of Christianity is as a result of what the Roman emperors instituted some 300 years after the true followers of Yahushua, the Natsarim, were alive. With this in mind, I point your attention to Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1 and verse 2. It says, "Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and shew my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sin. Yet they seek me daily, and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness, and forsook not the ordinance of their Elohim. They ask of me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching to Elohim." This is what Christianity does. Many of the Christians refuse to even look at church history to see the foundation of their founding fathers. And, like the sheep led to the slaughter, led by the blind, they continue to walk the path of unrighteousness. Jeremiah chapter 9 verse 3 says, "And they bend their tongues like their bows for lies, but they are not valiant for the truth upon the earth, for they proceed from evil to evil, and they know not me, saith Yahuwah." Roman Christianity is the vessel that was used to set the stage for the teaching. We are no longer under the law, but under grace. This was used and is still being used as a part of their propaganda machine to declare that the law was nailed to the cross. This false ideology that is often taught is that all things nailed to the cross or the stake came to an end. But nothing could be further from the truth, because all things nailed to the cross or stake continued forward and are forever established in eternity, receiving superior honor. This includes our living Mashiach, his covenant, the Torah law with its prophecies regarding the Mashiach, and his time-centric mechanism of salvation. As is stated by Yahushua HaMashiach, "Think not that I am come to destroy the Torah law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill." This is found in Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. So now, brethren, I hope that the information that is being researched and studied and then brought to you in the lesson studies. I hope it's a blessing in that it opens your eyes even more to the true foundations of Christianity. I will continue to bring as much information that I can research and be of certainty that this information is correct, so that you in turn can research the information that's presented to see if such things are true. Again, you can contact me via the YouTube comment section, via my email, or my WhatsApp. As David said, I made haste and I delayed not to keep your commandments. These very commandments that the Roman Catholic Church, Christianity, have denounced are the very commandments that governs the universe. Shalom, brethren.